Hello,
Nice.
good morning. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning NASDAQ. Running a little behind this morning. Me and Huddie were behind the screens, but we were just talking to each other, and sometimes we don't get to talk personally enough. And we're just enjoying good conversation over a nice coffee. So I want to welcome you guys in on this beautiful day. It's a heat wave here in Michigan. It's been 80s, 90s. I think it's going to be hundreds. Um,
Uh-oh. Heat wave.
that's what it is. And it's not
Get
your
your hose
typical
out.
Arizona heat. It's a little different.
Mm-mm.
Um, but it is the 18th day of June, 2024, year of our Lord, 2024. This is the Clover Trading YouTube channel. You're live with Dom. You're live with Huddy on this beautiful Tuesday morning. Also want to just say that tomorrow the market is closed. Kind of a weird week. We got a 2 days, then a week, 1 day weekend, then 2 days, and then a 2 day weekend. So it's definitely broken up. So today's kind of like a weekend night for the gappers.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. I
Is
saw it. Only reason I knew is because I saw it on
in the trade
Kyle's
journal?
Kyle's spreadsheet where which you can get on clovertrain.io, and he has it blacked out for like next 5 years, all the trading holidays and stuff. And I'm like, what is this day in the middle of the week that's blocked off? And then I found out it's real. So there will be no Wine Wednesday tomorrow, no Good Morning NASDAQ, unfortunately, because the market's closed. So enjoy your days, enjoy your nights, whatever you do. Um, but yeah, welcome in. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. This is our pre-market prep show where we talk about the biggest gappers on the day. And boy, do we have gappers today. We got runners. We got low price stuff running. We have a gapper from yesterday going berserk. What do we say? The last week and a half, you never know what's around the corner. You never know what's going to pick things up. And here we are with pretty much a very similar theme that kind of has a bunch of low price stocks gapping up today. So we'll talk about those as well as we have a couple. What do you call it when you have like things you got to talk about before you get to the important stuff? Your
Um,
notes, boil,
Notes works. Items.
whatever. We had a couple items on the
Homework.
agenda.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping. There we go. It is June 22nd through 24th. We're doing our very first virtual boot camp. And if you want access to that, you're going to have to hit the link in the description and go on over to clovertrain.io. Really getting excited for that one. Got a couple of really cool speakers. We have Nate Michaud, as well as all the Clovers. We have Randy Walker, who is actually my second millionaire student, because I would count Jack Kellogg as my first millionaire student. But
You take it.
Randy Walker has made over $1 million. He'll be speaking for the first time in any public forum like this. So really excited for that. You'll hear from J Bones, who's probably in the YouTube chat right now because he is a student of the markets. He's made multiple six figures and actually just killing it in recent years as primarily a long bias scalper. So you hear from him for the first time in a public forum. Really fun, good time to learn. You also have access to recording. So if you're busy this weekend, you can only go to a couple parts of the entire boot camp. You will have it. It's going to be really quick turnaround on the recordings just because it is all online, and you'll have access to that forever. So if you want access to that, it's under $300, which is significantly cheaper than any boot camp ticket we've ever had, as well as you don't have to buy plane tickets or a hotel. So really don't know what you would be doing if you don't want access to more good quality education. Get to hear from a lot of different traders. We'll also have live trading event on Monday, so that will kind of end the boot camp. So going to be a nice long weekend. Unfortunately, probably not a golf weekend for me, but I'm happy to spend any time I can with you guys. All right, gappers, we got them. We got them for you. Let's kick it off with MBIO. Gapping up 40% this morning. More just want to note, we talked about this yesterday. We identified our levels of resistance that look like light years away down here in the 30 to 40 area. What ends up happening yesterday is MBIO holds 30 cents on its morning pull, ends up breaking through the 40-cent area, becomes a Billy boy. And if
Billy
you
boy.
are new around here and you don't know what that is, it's a stock that trades 1 billion shares on the day. We've seen it with Fifi. We've seen it with, did CRKN do it? Or
Yes.
no? Saw it with GWAV, and it only took a few weeks before we got another Billy boy. And this one traded 1.1 billion shares on the day. And I know Huddy's talked a lot about his stats. I'm sure he'll be talking about the Billy Boys this weekend for his presentation for the virtual bootcamp. So if you want more access to his data and his systematic style of trading, you would have been prepared for MBIO, because we got a gap in pre-market all the way up in the 130s from a close down in the 70s. Pretty insane to see, and it did not go on its own. It brought a bunch of different ones into the equation. Let's go through this list. The biggest one that kind of just came out of nowhere, RELI, one that we've probably mentioned a few times in the past. Based off this daily chart, let's head on over to the tracker that tracks dilution. Others call it dilution tracker. It's an insurance broker company repping a 7.87 million share float. They're moving forward with its goal to operate in the insurance sector through its insurance broker agencies. All right, let's see if there's any news here. 27 minutes ago, they provide update on their pending Spetner acquisition. 34 months of cash left. They have pending effect warrants registered. Those are high up there. Not registered. $797,000 from a February 2024 ATM and a shelf. Anything there that interests you, Huddie? Are we more into the potential momentum here? And that's really all that matters is volume, price, and Momo right now.
Yeah, that's what my brain was actually thinking right on the dot. Volume, price, Momo, this is all just happening because of MBIO, and it should be treated like so, not really based off its, a little bit of fundamentals that you can find here.
Yeah, and looking at the daily chart, it's a stock that has spiked. Sometimes there are some wicks out into the sky up here, topping out the 58-cent area, as well as the 80-cent area. Really struggles to hold its gains, ends up making new lows once it's kind of done with those strength. Already going to do probably bigger volume than all those days. But those are, in 2024, the levels of resistance that matter, that 60 cents to 80-cent area. Got some more up here over $1. That would make it another 300 or 400% runner, so that would be quite wild. Only a 7 mil float, so not that big for a cheap stock coming from 20 cents yesterday. I think it's funny. We were in the room yesterday. Jack's in there. We're talking about MBIO potential sympathies. I bought NDRA thinking that one was going to do it. It ends up being a dud, and still you wake up this morning and there's just a bunch of low price stocks gapping, and it's really tough to predict these. Some of these moved yesterday and after hours just a little bit. I don't think Rally was one, so kind of coming out of the woodworks this morning on the PR. But what are your thoughts here when it comes to your general stats, what you see in a 200% runner? Are these going to follow to the T of MBIO yesterday? Are all going to push 100 to 500 million shares of volume traded or more and just be strong all day? Or is this a quick one and done where MBIO is still the main runner, main mover, and these just kind of fizzle?
Yeah, I think MBIO is definitely going to be your head of the snake, and what it does, a lot of these are going to follow. The thing about all these fresh runners right now is they are quite extended into the open. I mean, RELI, the one we're talking about right now, is up 200%. And the difference is there's going to be profit takers in this. People have been buying it all morning. People are looking for the next MBIO. So they're, it creates this chaser's market, which, creates this extension that you see in a lot of these cheaper stocks right now. There's a chance that these aren't the strongest buyers. There's a chance that these buyers don't really know what they're buying. They're just trying to cherry pick the next runner. So situation where I do imagine there's profit taking at market open. I do imagine that they're not all going to be MBIOs. I think that's more of like the rare one to see. Maybe one gets the volume stick and gets all the attention because of X, Y, and Z reason, although I don't see that reason right now, but maybe it exists. I don't know. That could happen. But otherwise, I think these are all just like, extended in the market open.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we got other ones like ASNS, which, wait, that's not a low price one, but it is a gapper this morning. Let's go to finish the low priced ones. NLSP was kind of popping yesterday in after hours right into the end of the day, and then actually had a pretty insane move from the 13-cent area all the way up to 32, consolidated nicely, and then it's gapping up this morning as well. This one was a little more illiquid at the close yesterday, so harder to predict. But when MBIO gaps up another 20, 30, 40%, the others are going to go with it for the most part. This one up 150% right now. Anything we want to talk about here, or is it really just putting them all into a basket and saying volume, price, Momo?
I think it's that, I'm not really the type of guy that's like going to be able to differentiate, last night, which one of these is going to go. The only one that I can identify as something that's in place, MBIO, because it has the volume, it has the Momo. So I think all of these kind of join that basket now.
Yeah, just diving in here, don't see anything except the fact that NLSP needs money. They are negative 2.5 months of cash left. I don't think there's news on this one. I think they put out a PR that said, there's no news. We're just running, doing our thing, running. Not a lot of history here. Obviously coming from its lows top left to bottom right daily chart, which shows us that it is just a weak turd in small cap land, coming from, 11 cents as high as the 50s this morning. Pretty insane move already. We'll see if this one can hold on. Already 100 mil this morning. Can it hold on? Can it go higher? For the most part, this is, I think really important for a lot of people to recognize as well. When Momo hits small caps, whether it's summer and it's very cyclical or it's just different parts of the year where we go through ups and downs, it's really, really important on these mornings and these times to get in where you fit in. And we talked about this when the market was slow over the last week, how important it is to avoid the noise. I mean, even when there is a very lack of noise, stick to what you're best at, stick to your patterns, and keep losses small and keep your focus on what makes sense to you. That doesn't just go out the window because someone tells you the market's on fire right now. If you are not someone who trades day one gappers long or short, if you are not someone who swings day one gappers overnight, do not be discouraged that others are posting big profits or making money, because that is what they do, and that is not what you do. If that's what you do, congrats, this is a good market for you. But when it comes to, we try to go into every morning, whether it's the hottest market ever or a slow morning, with the same perspective when it comes to these low priced, low float, small cap gappers. And the momentum is something we take into account, but in reality, what we're trying to do with them really doesn't change. And for me, stuff like NLSP, stuff like RELI really needs to do more to interest me when it comes to either the long side for potential backside bounce or breakout down the line. I'm really just trying to put these stocks on your guys' radar, not try to say, hey, these are all the stocks I want you to buy today. So that's NLSP. What was the other one? SNOA?
Yes.
Coming in a little bit this morning. This one kind of got going after hours, maybe a little more predictable that was following the momentum a bit. Kind of a little runner that has had a little success running. I did this run with 516 a month ago. That run with the Krakens and the G-Waves and the Fifis?
That's kind of the right time for it.
Yeah, I think it might have. Obviously, big spike, breakout, random day, and wick up to the 33-cent area. You have some resistance back here at 31 cents. And that's kind of like your resistance that matters before you kind of take a step up into where this drop from the high heavens into the depths of hell down here, sub 20 cents. Volume pretty good already, 40-something million. Let's take a look and see if there's anything in the dilution. 18 mil float here on SNOA. 16 hours ago, they reported earnings. That would put us at what time? 5 p.m. They have some cash on hand, 17 months of it. No ATMs left. Terminated. Replaced. Okay. So just Momo here. And what's your kind of overall thesis, since we're kind of saying the same thing about every one of these when it comes to Rally, SNOA, whatever the other one I just said was, NLSP. What's your overarching theme? Are you looking more about the percent up on the day, more about their volume out of the gate, resistance on the daily chart, wait and see?
I think what I really care about is volume, which means I have to wait and see. I don't really have the best way to predict what end-of-day volume is going to be like at 9:05 a.m. I have no idea, right? So like all of these cheap plays that have already caught some sector wind, like I would want to be selling into these gap ups. I'd want to have already been in, whether it's MBIO, NLSP, SNOA, RELI, I would want to have already been in and have sold into this extension, and then just be leaving them alone so that we can gather more data, see which one may take the lead in terms of relative strength, relative volume. Right now, it's really hard to make any kind of, guess how this board is going to look end of day, other than the fact that we know that some of these gaps are already extended. But again, like we saw with NBIO, if volume starts to overwhelm, then you can get into a situation where there's a big runner on the day. So we don't know that information yet, to be honest. I mean, none of these things are trading anywhere close to the volume that MBIO was within the first hour and a half.
Very similar pre-market volume though for a couple of these.
Yeah, it was at 70, 80.
Yeah,
roughly the same prices. But will it sustain like that? Just because it trades 70 or 80 million in the pre-market doesn't mean that it's going to have a billion by the end of the day. We see stocks that trade 600 million by 8 a.m. and that's the top, and then they start to fizzle from there. So there's a lot of different outcomes from this moment in time is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And that's what I was trying with that. My whole dissertation there was just trying to get you guys to really realize whether or not these are patterns of yours or not. My favorite part about heating up markets when we have a theme that's working, when we have stuff gapping up big, is to really sit back and wait for the best possible one or two maybe that line up for me. And that might not be today. That might be for a Friday on MBIO on a first green day, or a short on it on Thursday if it goes to 2 or 250. Trying to predict what's going to happen this morning is, I think a losing game when it comes to any day ones, whatever market that we're in. It's very difficult to handpick which ones will work and which ones won't. There's some reason that NDRA didn't follow through with this small low price momentum, and that other ones did, like NLSP. And predicting that is very difficult. But what's not difficult is sitting back and waiting for a stock to actually develop into a pattern for you and make the most of those opportunities. 117 of you watching, only 32 likes. I'll be honest with you, doesn't put me in a great mood on this beautiful, hot, sunny day at 9 a.m. Really would prefer that number get a little bit closer to 50 now as even more of you come in the door. Also want to remind you, we told everyone at the beginning, Virtual Bootcamp this weekend. You can still get your tickets all the way up till Saturday, June 22nd through the 24th. Going to be a great time. Like I said, new guest speakers that you've never heard of on a public, never heard from on a public forum. Jay Bones, Randy Walker, Nate Mishad, Tim Grattani, Jack Kellogg will be there for roundtable and questions. So make sure you get signed up for that. It is our cheapest boot camp ever and not in person. So unfortunately, no cocktail hour. All right, let's see. Any questions? If you guys have any other tickers you want to bring up, we'd be happy to get to them once we get to our 50th like here. If someone wants to volunteer as tribute, one more like. I'm just going to keep going like this until someone, there we go. You finally did it. We got you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. We are on the road to 5K. And if we get there, who knows? Maybe we'll give away something. You never know. Celine says, didn't NDRA have a bigger float? 72 mil. But when you're dealing with 10 to 30 cent stocks, sometimes that matters, sometimes it doesn't. What was the MBIO? Wasn't it like 25? Wasn't the smallest? Yeah, 25 million. It's not the smallest ever. Stuff like NLSP was, that can't be the ticker name, can it? 25 as well, so matched it almost to a T. Maybe people look at that more specifically. I am not a follow-up gapper guy, so whatever the comparisons are, that's a roll-in special. But all right. William says, good news, market closed tomorrow means stress-free golf. It's always stress-free golf when you're on the golf course. That's the whole point of it. Wayne says, learn how to hit the like button. Yeah, I can teach you guys. I can do a whole video lesson on what it takes. It'll be short and quick, but it is easy to do. A lot going on out there, guys. What do you think? What do you think? Cameron says, I'm noticing there are a bunch of these stocks moving that had earnings news. If they're already up a decent amount, what would that almost take away the best part of the move?
Yeah.
Huh?
What? I don't understand the question.
I'm guessing it's like if it's up 200%, wouldn't the best move have already happened?
In theory, unless it goes higher.
Unless it goes higher. There were moments yesterday when MBIO was up 200%, 250, 300, 400, 500, 600. Sometimes they go further. Sometimes it's too much. That's why you have to have rules and parameters for yourself. That's why I really don't like buying stuff like MBIO. Yesterday I talked about it being a technical multi-month breakout over the 44-cent area, but buying it when it's up, I don't know. I think at that point 200-something%, right, Huddie? It's hard to do. It's hard to click that button. It's hard to believe that a stock up 200% is going to do more without feeling like you're being greedy. And that's when volume really plays a perspective. That's when Huddie's back testing really plays a perspective, and understanding what things are capable of when they trade a certain amount of shares. And that's why volume really does matter a lot. But that's why it's just important to have rules for yourself on what you're allowed to do, because there's no shame in not buying MBIO for a swing at 60 to 70 cents a share, knowing at some point one of these is going to do something dirty overnight and it's going to close at 75 and open at 20. At some point it's going to happen. And so that's why it's easy for us to romanticize all these big gaps in the Billy Boys, but I'm sure at one point in the next year a Billy Boy is going to bother a lot of people.
It's happened already once this year.
With which one? G-Wave or
PHUN?
Okay. DNL says it hurts to be red when the market is hot. I did a whole dissertation on that. It's, one person's hot is another person's cold. One person's medium is another person's boiling. You got to do what's best for you. We've been saying stay in your lane. I think we started yesterday before we even had MBIO as a runner. Stay in your lane.
It's really important to not focus on someone else's results. Like focus on your own. Just because one person did well with the stock, that doesn't mean that you necessarily should have. If there's something to learn, great. Learn the lessons that you can, but don't hyperfixate, right? Just move on, because plenty of opportunity for you to prove it to yourself again that that's an opportunity that you want to take advantage of.
Exactly. Yeah, I said it this morning. That's when me and Huddie, we were a couple minutes late because I was telling him, Jack comes in the room yesterday just buying up everything, trading MBIO, trading MLGO this morning. And, it's really important for me to keep the same advice. Being consistent as a trader over a 3 to 5 year stretch really has to do with showing up every day with the same mindset until you become so experienced and so technically proficient that you can switch it up on the fly, like a Nate or a Jack. And if you can't do that, you got to stay in the right lane. If Jack's heading over to Pizza Hut and he passes me in the left lane, and he's going 90 miles an hour and I'm only going 75, I'm only going to get there a few minutes later, okay? I'll still get there. The buffet will still be open. And I think it's a lot of people, they just want to grab onto the back of the car and just go along for the ride, but that generally means taking more losses, bigger losses, and it can end up being a lot more frustrating, because if you believe that the market's hot and you're losing money, then you push harder, you take unnecessary risks, you take more trades, you take no pattern trades, and then all of a sudden you're further back than where you started, and the market's still supposedly hot. Last week, I'm sure a lot of top traders didn't trade, but if you're a small cap trader who trades breakouts or for screen days, you had MLGO, you had KITT. What was the one later in the week that worked? Was there a breakout? Huh?
I don't know.
There was one.
DEFTF.
There was that one. There was also KITT for screen day. There was plays last week on what was a slower week, and you could have had a phenomenal week if that fit into your arsenal. So important to know that just because someone tells you the market's hot doesn't mean you need to push more buttons. DNL says, news, I hit the like, and it wasn't that hard. That's an inspirational story that I think a lot can learn from. It only takes a second of your time. Like they used to say in those commercials, $1 a day can save this dog's life. And I think we should end on that this morning. Like I said, link in the description for the virtual boot camp. If you want access to that, it's going to be a long, busy weekend for all of us. It will be recorded. So if you want access, but you don't have all the free time this weekend to sit in front of your computer, immediately, probably next week, you'll have access to it for life. So get involved if you want to get involved. Like I said, no Good Morning NASDAQ tomorrow, no live trading, considering the fact that the market's closed. So we would have nothing to prep for. If Huddie wants to go live and just do a whole, bagel review or something, that's up to him. But I want to thank you guys for being there. Good show this morning. Rewatch it if you missed any parts of it. We talked about a lot of stuff. Had a lot of participation from you guys. I want to say thank you for being here. Tell you how much we appreciate spending our mornings with you. At the beginning of doing Good Morning NASDAQ, I didn't love the idea of basically having a full-time job of being here every morning at 8:45 a.m. The whole fun thing about trading is that you don't have any time requirements of when you have to be there. But I'll tell you what, I love spending my mornings with you. Love spending my mornings with Huddie. Love it when Kyle comes on. And you guys make it what it is. So thank you for being here. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for being subscribed. I don't know why Huddie's laughing, but we appreciate your appreciation. And we will see you Thursday morning. All you Clovers, I'll see you in a minute. But you also have a webinar with me at 11. So make sure you bring your questions. As always, clovertraining.io if you want access to any of our webinars, video lessons, trade alerts, watch list, all that good stuff. You can get access to 3 or 4 leaf Clover whenever you want. Just no free trial anymore because you guys also ruined that. Sorry. Have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. Get outside, enjoy the weather, and be the best version of yourself you can.